I'm gonna get my stuff together. I'm gonna do this. Yeah, yeah.
What? I would like to know just one. You don't tell me later.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
I will give you the bestest blowjob you have ever had in your entire life. The bestest, longest, sloppiest, juiciest, tongue
I
burlap.
don't know.
This podcast contains explicit adult content, mature themes, and candid conversations about sex, dominance, power exchange, and ethical non-monogamy. It is intended for audiences 18 and over only. Listener discretion is advised. The views expressed by our guests are theirs alone and do not necessarily reflect the views or values of the hosts, producers, or affiliated brands. The Bull Brotherhood podcast is for educational, entertainment, and empowerment purposes only. Nothing in this podcast should be interpreted as legal advice, medical guidance, or psychological counseling. We speak from experience, not credentials. Always practice consent, respect the boundaries of others, and follow local laws. If you're not comfortable with frank talk about sex, kink, dominance, or emotional power, this probably isn't the show for you. But if you're ready to step into your masculine edge and embrace a lifestyle that demands mastery, welcome to the Brotherhood.
Welcome to the Bull Brotherhood podcast, where we talk power, pleasure, and the art of dominance in ethical non-monogamy. This is not your average lifestyle podcast. This is for men who lead, men who master, and men who leave a lasting impression. If you're here, you're not just curious. You're ready to elevate. So to all the bulls, hot wives, stags, and open-minded explorers, we see you. Let's go.
Oh yeah, claim the mind, train the body on the soul, deep connections built on trust. That's our goal.
Good evening, listeners. Welcome to another informative episode of the Bull Brotherhood podcast. I'm the Sigma male himself, Brian Morgan, coming at you with the family, the beautiful and lovely Siren. Say what's up, beautiful.
What's up, beautiful?
And of course, the perpetual student, my nephew Socrates. What's good?
Unc, what's good, man? I'm doing good.
Good deal, good deal. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have a topic that this is really one that nephew is going to lead. The topic is, of course, swinging. And of course, I tell people all the time, I have had very little contact in the swinger world. Although I do have a lovely family that that we are in a polyamorous relationship with. They are active swingers, but I do not really dive into that world. But tonight, though, we're going to discuss, I guess, the pros and cons of swinging. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the perpetual student himself, Socrates. He's going to lead this tonight. Take it away, brother.
Yeah. So one of our goals here and our desires at the Bull Brotherhood podcast is that we know that we are in a niche of a niche. And what I mean by that is, if you're in ethical non-monogamy, you're a niche, right? Even though people cheat, we're still the minority. And then if you look at the kind of ethical non-monogamy that we practice, considering all the variations that you can practice ethical non-monogamy, we're in a niche of a niche, which is, hot wife, interracial, bulls, and cuckold relationships, stag vixen. These are niches of niches. So why would anybody besides the people in this community want to hear anything we have to say, especially broader in the ethical non-monogamy space and beyond? Because we know and we understand and we believe that we have skills that everybody in every dynamic, whether it be monogamous, conservative, liberal, and I mean types, not political families, and swinging, everything. So what we're going to talk about is just our perspective on it. And like Unc said, he doesn't have a lot of experience in it, but he has been around the block. That's why we had Unc on here, because he has a really cool perspective. And guess what? Sometimes we may not agree, or sometimes we're not going to talk about everything we like or love. We're just going to share our opinion from our perspective. You know, as a nerd, as somebody researches, I encourage you to do your research. I encourage you to, hit us up and see if, well, you know what, I can test what you're saying here. I think your numbers are off, or your research is skewed, whatever. So that's what we're gonna do. And plus, um, for the first couple of weeks, Siren and I started out swinging, but I would have to go back to.
No, we didn't.
A little
From
bit,
the
a wee
first
bit.
night. Oh, well, we did full swap the first. We full swapped the first night. I wasn't so sure because, as you know, I love the brothers, and that's been my preference for a long time. But I wasn't sure if it was going to be successful because the guy was not. But he was amazing. It was super fun. That was a really fun full swap. It started with me going down on her, though. And I hadn't eaten pussy in 12 years.
Mm.
And then she came a couple of times.
Mm.
And yeah, and she said it was great. So I was like, sweet, I'm back in the game. And then we had like a group play session, 2 group play sessions, and another full swap. So yeah.
Yeah. So
right away we were like past the full swap there, like right away.
and I practiced swinging in my previous relationship. So let's, basically swinging is an, subset of ethical non-monogamy. It's when usually it's a heterosexual couple who decides to open their relationships up and, ethically and consensually and hopefully with as much education as possible
And enjoyably,
it's gonna be fun.
educationally,
Right. Get into this lifestyle, and they decide to full swap or soft swap or have experiences with other couples. So the husband, is looking to interact with, from flirting to full on sex with another man's wife, and his wife is looking to do the same thing with her husband. So that is the essence of swinging. It is how the lifestyle began in America. Now there's been millions of versions of it all over the world, all over history, but in America, it actually got started. Do you know how swinging got started in America?
I actually do not. Tell me.
Well, and we're both, men have served in branches, me the Navy and you the Army, correct?
Correct.
Well, it was the Air Force. It was the chair force, y'all. So back in World War II, you would think the infantry was the most endangered or had at risk of dying in the military, and it was not. It was actually the fighter pilots. So these guys were getting picked off left and right, and we were winning most of the time. We were getting picked off left and right. So eventually, the new recruits that are coming in that kind of knew this would be like, "Hey, man, get to the point where they're going to be in combat. They're getting deployed, and they're like, I don't know if I'm going to come back and be alive. And I just got married. I want my wife to be taken care of, or my kids, or maybe we just started a family. Can you take care of her? Yeah, well, all right. If you want to include sex in that, of course, I'm going to be dead. Just take care of her, right? So I don't want her out in these streets. This is serious. If you look up, actually, there's a book called The Lifestyle, and it's like chronicles the beginning of it and talks about it and research and everything. And so they started that. And then it actually then developed later on into the 70s to the key parties. So if you guys have ever watched The Grinch, the one with Jim Carrey, there's a scene in it where they're dancing inside and they're throwing a key into this glass bowl. And there's a movie that Sigourney Weaver was in where they did the same thing.
And then that really weird B movie that we saw about swinging and the neighbor becoming obsessed. You
Right.
know.
Right. There's a lot of B movies about it. There actually is a scene in The Hunting Wives where it's kind of swinging, where they kind of can date other people or play with other people outside of it, but it's a version of swinging. It's kind of loose version of swinging.
Yeah, but the wife can only play with other
The
women.
wife can, and that's why I say it's a version, because the man, there's a lot of times where in swinging, you know, and sometimes it's because the man's being kind of forceful, and sometimes it's just because way it works out, and the woman's fine with it. Where it would be like, oh well, I can play with as many women, but you can only play with me, right? Or you can only play with one other guy. They'll restrict the woman, and that's if it's unconsensual, we don't, if you're doing that and you don't, and your wife wants to play and you're just jealous or selfish, we don't condone that. But there are those dynamics where the wife is just not interested. She likes women. She wants to explore the women's side more than she wants to explore men. And that works out great for him. He's like, okay, bet, works, wins, win-win. So now it's really taken on a life where I don't know that any one couple is 100% just like, full swap swingers. But I would say swinging is about 60% of ethical non-monogamy. That's not polyamorous. Would you agree, Siren?
Yes. I was thinking, and I was kind of stuck on the whole consensual thing of like everyone agreeing and being in agreements on that, because I have a local guy that I've just briefly been chatting with, and it came up today. I was asking, I was like, okay, going through all my process, and I'm like, all right, you're gonna have to talk to my husband soon. Would you like to meet for a drink to see if we even vibe? And so we're kind of working out the details with that. And I said, if we vibe, can you host sometimes? And he said, no, I can't because my family's there. And, he's like, otherwise I would. And I said, okay, family. I was like a wife and kids or, and he said, yeah, he's like, people have families. And I said, oh yeah, I have no problem with having a family, and then I accidentally typed, if you have a boyfriend and kids, I don't care, but I meant wife and kids. And he said, yeah, I have a wife, and she just says, as long as I don't bring any drama home, blah blah blah. Well, then I move on to our ethical standard, which is Socrates and I have to verify with that partner that we can play with them. And so I asked him about that, and then he basically gave me this answer that was like saying, no, you're not fucking talking to my wife. So this is where I say, thank you for being honest with me and sharing your dynamic. I wish you well. Ethics are very important in the swinging situation. And then what was the rest of it? Can you repeat that part for me after that? My brain just got stuck on that.
Stuck on what part?
Stuck on the part about consenting and everybody being in agreement of what you're going to do. And then I told that story about the ethics.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, basically, we're just kind of giving the foundations of what swinging is, right? And to people outside, if you're in the vanilla world, and vanilla doesn't mean bad, it just means you're not doing this stuff. You want to be monogamous. From the outside looking in, it might look all confusing. And some people in this lifestyle don't even like the labels, right? I like labels not because they restrict you, but because they help define distinctions. When is one thing something and not the other, right? But, Unc, let me ask you a question. I know.
Go ahead.
I know you have, you said you have very little experience. What experience have you had with swinging personally? Even if it's just people you've been with and they're sharing their stories.
I've been invited with a few couples to attend swinger events. Some of the events actually were, in telling you, asking for a few vetted single guys to come. Some didn't know that I was coming until, I arrived there with the couple. I sit back. You know me. I sit back and I watch. And I just see how a lot of the times you have a couple there. Let's say you have an extremely attractive couple there. Both of are very, very attractive. Sometimes they just don't mesh with a whole lot of other couples. Or there's I'm not a drinker at all. I don't drink, I don't smoke. Alcohol may be involved at parties, and you get ones women, they get completely tore out of the damn frame, and they may try to come on to a husband, and the wife, okay, I'm standing right here, you know, you don't see me. It's just too many things. It's too many things, too many variables for me that can happen when all four people aren't on the same page. You know, I've seen two couples who look like that they were. I'm saying to myself, okay, they look like they might mesh, but in the conversation, it didn't happen. It didn't happen, and I don't know if the communication just was not there. You know what I mean? They just didn't know how to talk to each other to maybe make everything click, or you know, or something else. But I was like, I don't like this type of lifestyle. So, you know, I choose not to dwell, not to dive into it. Like I say, even though Philip and Lindsay, you know, my couple, they do. Um, but she kind of knows that when they come back from an event, she may tell me a little something about it, but I kind of know what happened there. She ended up playing with a whole lot of the women and not necessarily any guys, you know, because for her now she is a hot wife. She lives in the hot wife world. Um, you know, Philip does his thing at the party, if he so chooses. But you know, a lot of times, you know, she doesn't. So it's for I mean, it's for ones, it's for couples, and you know, for the couples who love it, hey, my hat's off to you. But just myself, I just have not. I've chosen not to dive into it.
Yeah, so I want to talk about those. So in my first relationship in the lifestyle, you know what I've noticed about that? What you're talking about, you're basically, explaining how hard it is to find that four-way connection. And that's the same
Oh yeah.
situation with me and Siren. The only difference is we have a lot more options. If you strike out there, and when my first relationship, if we struck out in a four-way connection, that's it. No more options. Well, it just didn't work, Go back to the drawing board,
I
right?
didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No. Oh, so like you mean like after one time of trying it with one couple or
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, so, one of our favorite clubs was a club, it's no longer open. It's called um
Club FA?
Club FA, Freedom Makers. And it was actually like a resort on one side, like maybe like a couple of miles down the way, one of the largest lifestyle clubs in the country. It had 69 beds. It had at one point it had two dance floors and two hot tubs. It was amazing. And so
Where was this? Where was this located?
it was in Southern California, San Bernardino, Inland
Okay.
Empire area, in SoCal, east of LA County. So anyway, we would go down there, and it was the best. It was a perfect, um, what's the word that Mr. Mocha uses? Cross section of race, age, color. Like, it reflected California. You know, it was varying degrees of attractiveness, size, shape, you know, and it was DJ was great. It was just great. But yeah, if you think about it, right now, Siren and I can meet a couple and we vibe, we can go. Siren and I can say, you know what? I'm gonna get you a gang bang. You go in the room, get ready. I'll gather up 10 dudes. We'll get you taken care of. Siren can do the same for me. There's so many different things because we are so many different dynamics in one. And so we have those options, right? When you're swinging, you got, and especially you're new, you're swinging and you have maybe emotional issues to do, or you just a little bit more conservative, or it just only really tickles your fancy to find another couple, have that four-way connection, right? And that's the only thing that's on the table because you're new. And so, yeah, we would go down there and, you know, we drive an hour and a half, 2 hours to get there. And you're there. You got about 4 or 5 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get in, get some drinks, get settled. Everybody comes, see who you can see, hopefully vibe with somebody, then sit down and talk to them because you're new. So you want to talk for 2 hours. Even the people don't like to talk a lot, want to talk that long. I believe it or not, I talk a lot. I wanted to get to it.
I know, me too. That first night, I was like, let's go fuck each other. This
Yeah.
is taking too long.
Yeah.
I thought I had like visions of people just constantly approaching us type thing, and people just pairing off like really quickly,
Exactly.
like,
That's the vision of every
playing
person.
kickball or
before they get in
something,
a- No. Everybody before they get in the lifestyle say, "Oh, I was just gonna go in that room. They're gonna jump on you." It's like, come on. No, but we would go down to a club like that, and then we were fairly good looking people, so we would either get approached or approach, and then maybe the whole process took an hour. All right, well, you've been there 45 minutes. You approach. Now you're there hour and 45 minutes. Then you start intermingling, dancing, and the vibe's not there. So now it maybe took you 15, 20 minutes to see what the vibe wasn't there. And then another 5 minutes to figure out, well, how do we get the fuck out of this?
Yeah, I think we've settled a lot.
Right?
Like,
What do you mean?
kind of just like grab somebody. I felt myself getting anxious sometimes, but then there's other times where we haven't played at all, like when we went to Pravada.
Yeah.
A lot of people just standing around looking at each other.
Right.
So we had sex with each other like 4 times, which was awesome. Put on a big show in the middle of the room. He ate my pussy and I just squirted everywhere and people clapped. It was cool because one of the guys that was working there like ran and got us towels, and he was like, "This is the best night of this job." He's like, thank you so much." Like, it was the coolest. I felt like a celebrity, a squirt celebrity. I don't know. I felt very confident walking around there after that. Thank you for your hard work. Jeez. I just laid there and enjoy and put on a little show for everyone. Siren, she squirts and she screams.
Yeah. So my point, getting back to it, is like it's tough being a swinger, but that's why there are actually more events for swingers than anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many cruises you can go on to, and clubs that only cater to swingers, and resorts that only cater. It is the majority of it because it is so hard to find that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm not mad at clicks in the lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm really not, because it's a little different. I haven't, even the driest club or event I've been to, they're way more friendlier than people at the club, a regular club. And so, it's like, in this lifestyle, we're much more open. But when you get in here, you're sharing your private parts. And if you're a poly, you're sharing your whole damn life. And eventually you start saying, it's not that I'm judging that crowd. That's not my vibe right there.
Yeah. Well, and we were talking about that with Kiki that was on the Siren of Freedom podcast this week, and how they also, like, we love her and her husband. They're great people, but they have their own little like pot of people. We have our own little pot of people, and the only time that we might cross paths in the lifestyle is if we're at our local like lifestyle spot. But as far as little parties go, that's like, it's normal to get a group of people, like you said, that you're comfortable with and, that you feel safe around. And then we all just kind of talk to each other all the time. Like my friend just texted me like, oh, my man's got a play date with so-and-so tonight. And then, tomorrow we'll ask so-and-so how it was, And it's just fun because we've all just become close knit like that, where we can just, just freely chit chat and enjoy one another's company, and it's a lot more comfortable for me personally on my journey of like just I love now telling these women like certain things that I want them to do while they're here. So that's fun for me.
Yeah. But, that's the good thing about our dynamic is we have those, swingers don't. But here's the thing, I want another perspective on it. It's also that's our perspective because our needs, our demands, our desires, our fantasies, how fast we're going, like, that's the whole thing. But it's also great for some people that want to take it slow.
Mm-hmm.
It's
For sure.
great for some people that don't risk a lot,
Yeah.
right? And some
There's
people,
nothing wrong with anything that you choose or however long your journey takes.
yeah, that's what I liked about it. It's like it did give me the time I needed to ask 1,000 questions because we go to the parties we go to, the clubs we go to, the splash. There's some women that want you to invest maybe 8 or 9 hours collectively before you get it in splash, right? That's cool. In swinging situations, sometimes I invested months just to even get a meet and greet, right? And that's
Wow. That was good that you guys did that then, because this girl, yeah, she's the impatient one in the relationship, and I do not like the long game at all. My husband, he has himself a good time over there, but I'm like hey, 5 text messages, let's meet for coffee, and then if we're cool, like, let's set up the session to play. I'm ready to go. But my husband will talk to some bitch for like, and bitch, when I say bitch, I mean, I love you. My friend, we call each other bitches all the time. So, my husband will spend like a damn near a year talking to somebody and get to play with them maybe twice at the most. And the Lord made him for that and not me. But it kind of works out because I'm a girl. And so I don't have to play the long game most of the time. Would you agree with that, Socrates? We talked about this.
No,
So
here's the thing. But you do enjoy. You will be getting to enjoy. There's some guys playing the long game with you.
that you know about.
Yes.
Whatever.
Okay.
Are you serious? You're making me blush. That's so sweet. That's so sweet that you know about it.
Sometimes a long game isn't, oh, I'm working on her. Sometimes a long game is, let me get my shit together before I even step to her.
Why does somebody else? Well, but in the lifestyle, why do you have to get your shit together? I don't care if you broke on your mama's couch.
You say that now, but I could name some people that you've kicked to the curb, as you should have, because your standards raised, and they know that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah.
I'm not talking about this particular person.
You're not talking about financials. Sorry, I was thinking financially.
No.
You just mean character-wise.
No. Some of them I know of several. Number one. Number two, some might be financial, others might be confidence, others might be, you said you've told you've told very few, but you've totally got some guys, no, I'm not interested, straight up. And they're like, I'm gonna get a second chance. I'm gonna get my stuff together. I'm gonna do this. Yeah.
What? I would like to know just one. You don't tell me later.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
I will give you the bestest blowjob you have ever had in your entire life. The bestest, longest, sloppiest, juiciest, tongue swirl.
I don't know.
That kind.
I don't know what guy or guys you all are talking about in the lifestyle that are worried about finances. All right, before the end game, which is ass. But whoever the hell they are or he is or whatever, he needs to get the fuck out of the lifestyle if he's worried about finances.
Yeah, it's
Period.
It's not cheap.
Period, though. If he's worried about that.
What do you think? What does that financial stability represent for you in bowls?
What does financial stability represent in bulls?
Yeah, well, for you, I want to hear, what is Brian thinking about this?
Okay, I'm definitely not going into talking to any couple or any woman thinking about my financial status. I'm not. All right. I'm putting her on a pedestal. Believe me, I'm putting her on a pedestal. I'm getting to know her.
Mm-hmm.
I want to find out who she is, et cetera, et cetera. But am I thinking about my financial status, for the end game? No, I'm not. I'm not thinking about that. Okay. Uh, now if we trying to take this, well, no, let me ask, where are you going with this with these guys? All right. Is this just Siren play date, or is this Siren trying to go out on dates and et cetera, with these guys? I mean, elaborate what you expect.
Oh, I don't, and I hope I didn't come across saying that I have financial requirements for the guys in the lifestyle because I'm taking care.
Well, I mean, the way. Well, I'm just saying the way Socrates just said it, financial status. That I thought that, okay, the guy needs to have some type of, his money needs to be long or something before
No,
he can
he at
step to.
least he needs to be able to pay his cell phone bill so he doesn't get disconnected when he wants to call me for
Well,
something.
let me jump in. Let me jump in. Well, here's the thing. That's why they're coming to me for counsel. I'm telling them you don't have to worry about it. Some is this legitimate, like, I need to get the splash, or I need to fly to you, or I need to, pay for her to be able to fly out. It's more of like, I'm not even gonna try or bullshit her. I'm just gonna get it right. And I'm like, well, let's be creative. Or brother, don't worry about that too much. Just start working on the relationship. She'll talk. Just be, I'm counseling them. I'm not telling them they should. We don't have any. I pay for pretty much. If I send her out, I pay for all that. And I.
Guys
Okay, but I'm
usually
just saying that okay, now you just answered my question then.
Yeah.
So okay then, yeah, they have to be financially stable if they're going to fly, if she's going to fly to see them.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want to broke
Right.
out there. And
Correct.
then, yeah, exactly. The thing is this, my requirement is if I fly her out, are you going to pick her up? Are you going to take her out to eat? She has to pay for her own food. Are you going to, or is it, I'll fly her out. I'll take care of everything. You just deliver the dick, but some of these guys, I tell them that I'm saying, hey dude, if you just deliver good dick and take care of her and treat her right, I'll take care of everything. Don't worry about that. And she's incredibly creative with, all that travel hacking stuff. So I'm counseling them.
Okay.
But some dudes are. I was.
well, okay, so
some
they're
dudes
kind of
do
struggle.
struggle. Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, yeah, that's my only requirement.
My point, I don't want to, this podcast is about swinging. I don't want to get
You
too
know what?
crazy on it.
This is our podcast, and we do what the fuck we want.
I don't. I just don't. I want to be disciplined on the subject matter. But my point is,
no, you're so great.
my point is that that's why I'm counseling them, to let them know, like, hey, bruh, like, here's what it takes to really be a bull, really be a leader, to really be a man. And this is what women are looking for. And I'm I'm telling them, if you want this experience, then you got to pay for it. But if you just want to deliver the dick, I got you, because I like to fly my wife out and she likes to fly. So I'm just telling them, hey, bruh, like, I got you. Don't worry about it. We'll find a creative way. But, some of them, I used to be that way. There was a point where I could have dated and I was technically homeless. I wasn't on the streets. I was rooming with someone right before I met Siren. And I said, I can go out and date right now if I want to, or I can put my head down, get some sales, get me a 2-bedroom apartment, furnish that motherfucker, and start a business. And that's what I decided to do. I didn't really date it. The only thing I did is if I catched a couple when I was being a bull. But I wasn't out there trying to date. Where I live, I could have went to the bar anytime, picked up a girl every weekend. But I said, no, I'm gonna put my head down. So I respect that hustle type of way. I know what you're saying, Unc. You're saying, hey, man, if you have enough game and if you get your shit together, you don't have to be worrying about, putting money in a woman's pocket. That's not what this lifestyle is about. You don't have to worry about that. Be a good man.
Yeah.
Be quality. That's what you're saying, Unc.
Well, and I wouldn't even be allowed to accept that
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, my husband takes care of me. These guys can pay for things that also benefit them, like
Right.
a hotel room, of me coming there,
Right.
and, us enjoying dinners together, whatever. And guys have been great,
Yeah.
honestly.
And there's other
Like,
factors. Like some of these guys don't live. See, we have places we go. We have cities that we frequent. Some of these guys are off the beaten path. So I'm like,
yeah,
nah,
it's
son,
just harder to
I'm
get
not
the
flying her out there
Yeah, because it's like
because it's
$900.
too much money. I'm not paying for that. I'll fly her to our frequent places if you're there. But if you want to fly her out, bet, you know, or if you want to work something out, you want to fly here, bet. But I'm not paying for either one of those. I'll help you with everything else. So there's been the whole point is there has been a couple of guys who um are playing the long game with you, and in the long game doesn't mean to sit around and, oh, I want to be some pussy, so let me text her. Can you give me some pussy? I ain't giving you no pussy because you got to talk to me some more. Okay, I'll talk to you some more. That's not the long game. The long game is that's her speed. Before she feels comfortable and opens up, and next thing you know, she's a motherfucking freak. She needs you to invest some time so
Right.
she feels safe with you. Some women,
There's
yeah,
nothing wrong with
they're
that.
insecure and they need to see a bunch of effort to make them feel good. There's 1,000 reasons.
And that's exactly why I said that the Lord made you
Yeah.
the long gamer and not
Yep.
me, because I'm so sorry, gentlemen, but if it was the shoe was on the other foot and we had to play the long game, I would not be getting any dick.
Why are you holding the mic like you're rapping right now?
Because
Go to mic.
it feels good. It feels powerful in what I'm saying, and that makes me feel more confident. So that's why I'm doing it.
Yes, ma'am. Anyway, to get back on track, the reason why I wanted to talk about that
Your wife is
is because
derailing at
no, we're having a good time. You ain't derailing. No, we're having a good time.
and I'm showing you my titties too.
Yeah. You okay?
There they are again.
My whole thing is with swinging, you have to play the long game because it is from a positive perspective, a very restricted and confined space to be safe. Take your time, and you are going to find some people that just want to fuck at the club because they flew in from Vegas or wherever city you're in and to have a good time, and they're from a small town. That happens, but my advice and what I've noticed and what I've experienced, because I still like swinging. I still have friends that are just swingers. I still look for the movies that have I love seeing it in
Oh yeah.
anything. I still listen to straight swinger podcasts.
I have a prophecy. I think that someday in the future, and I've been thinking about this for a very long time, and I probably already told you. I hope I didn't. I hope you're surprised. But I've been thinking about this. Someday we are going to be on a reality TV show for people in the lifestyle, you and me. I just have this like premonition about it, and I'm super excited. And
Yeah.
I know you're probably shitting your pants.
Yeah. Tell your premonition to add me being excited about it because I do not want to.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm not like pursuing it or anything. Like, we would totally just have to get approached one day.
Don't get me wrong. I got some book deal, movie deal things that I want to talk to Uncle about, and I think we've talked about a little bit. Well, we won't, give any more details than that, but that
like,
might or might not happen. But I don't want my face on anything.
I want to tell you. Can I tell you about my vision?
You, Unc? What about? Yeah, go ahead. Tell us your vision.
Tell me the vision for it. Okay, so there's one couple that is, there's two couples actually, because we need two for a full swap, right? So there's two couples that are full swap couples, and then there's us, obviously our dynamic, and then there's a cuckold couple, and then there's like 3 bulls and like a couple unicorns. So we're all on this show, right? And we're just living our lives. And it's just like there's always somebody that will be dramatic or whatever. They just have to have that. But everybody's just...
That would be you, of course.
That would not be us. I am calm at all times. I have a personality like this. No. So anyways, I just keep thinking about it. I think about it all the time, like probably every single day, about being on this reality show. I also had a dream that somebody was recording me, and I was just like coming in the house, and I was like, we won the Powerball.
Let it be so. From this podcast to God's ears.
Or like one of our managers does, and she says, speak it into existence.
Unc, would you want to be on TV? Yeah. Would you want your face on TV? Would you want to be on like a reality TV show about the lifestyle?
Not the swingers lifestyle. No.
No, it has some of everybody on it. It has
no.
like
The only type of TV show that I would be on would be something, and it would be involving like escorting or something like that. Like a TV show that was on Showtime a few years ago. I really enjoyed that show. 5 guys that were based out of Las Vegas, and they were all escorts, and that was an excellent show. But as far as like the hot wifing thing, or the actual swingers lifestyle, no.
Well, you wouldn't interact with anyone else on there. You'd just be telling your story. That's how reality TV shows usually work.
Let's pretty much close it with this. We have different opinions about swinging, but I think it's a great option for those who are starting, especially as a couple who are dipping their toes. They don't have that itch to rush. It's the best place to start. But if you educate yourself, or you have friends or have other experiences that open those up, jump into it. I'm not, recommending that you jump into one dynamic or another. I'm just saying swinging is, to me, like the most fundamental part of it. It has the least amount of complexities, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, we just kind of want to share that perspective. And now I think we know what our next subject should be. And I think we should talk about Unc and escorting.
Yes, I'm super intrigued by that.
Yeah, I think that's the next thing I want to talk about.
I think, what is the name of that escort show that you said you watched?
It was called Gigolos.
Gigolos.
I've watched it. We should watch it.
Oh, can we watch that?
Yeah,
It came on Showtime.
Yeah,
a few years ago.
It might be like Paramount or something has it.
Okay.
Or we could just
maybe so.
Or we can just try the free trial of Showtime with a new email address.
Stop it.
Hey, we have so many businesses and so many personalities. There's nothing illegal,
Yeah, it's not.
All right, let's close it out. Yeah, you guys, thanks. We just wanted to share our opinion on, swinging. So we'll holler at y'all.
Our opinion only.
And that was a great job. You guys did a great job tonight. I learned a lot. Excellent show. And here again, for Socrates, Siren, I'm the Sigma male himself, saying to all the bulls out there, my brothers of the sword, wishing y'all a good night. And to all my beautiful ladies, hot wives, unicorns, all my sexual deviants, I wish you good morning. Until we meet again, good night, y'all. Bye-bye.
Dominant and classy, we stand tall, never fall. Bull brotherhood, luxury and tall.